I'm sure many of you have seen those factories in China, the ones where there's no lights on in the factory, right? There's no need for lights because robots don't need lights like humans do. Well, when will robots replace human beings on the factory floor? It's going to happen. It's already beginning to happen in China. But when will humans no longer be needed to manufacture cars? Well, Mercedes-Benz's CEO has come out and given us an actual timeline. This is a bit of a concern. If you work in an automotive industry factory, I mean, in the United States, you might have a higher chance of keeping your job, but I would say in places like Europe and China, probably not so much. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Great to have you with us. Bit of a concern here. Tony Seba, he's talked all about how humanoid robots will take our jobs, all of them, and no one will be safe. And eventually that will lead to a very different world. Huge productivity. I mean, global GDP will skyrocket, but I mean, who's going to buy stuff? I don't know. Where's all the money going to come from? It's going to be a very interesting world. It's going to be so different, isn't it? So the CEO of Mercedes-Benz has come out and said, given it a date, an actual date for when in Europe, basically Mercedes-Benz, and I'm assuming other German car manufacturers, won't need human beings to make cars anymore. That might actually give them a chance to be competitive with China. It possibly could. Mercedes-Benz has actually already launched a pilot project with humanoid robots that it says could begin working alongside, in other words, replacing factory workers within the next 5 years. Of course, in China, BYD, NIO, Huawei, other car companies, they are using robots in a similar way. In fact, even Toyota themselves is also using them. But those robots are getting much, much better. Neural networks are getting faster and improving at a truly staggering rate. So that means that the robots they have today, I wouldn't call them dumb robots. They're certainly much smarter than the robots we had, say, 5 years ago. But they're pretty dumb in comparison to the robots we're going to have in 4 or 5 years' time because they just are improving at an incredible pace. We have never seen the pace of improvement that we're seeing today. If you're watching YouTubers or reading certain blogs and articles telling you that's not true, I promise you, they are not telling you the truth. They're trying to protect your feelings, telling you what you want to hear because, your job's safe. Don't worry, they're not getting better. They're not changing very much. That is completely false. These robots will unquestionably replace humans within 10 years. There won't be human beings working on production lines. It just doesn't make sense. If you have a robot which can work 24 hours a day, which doesn't complain, which doesn't try to sue you, which doesn't have sick days, which has basically all the strength that you need, could lift 2, 3, 4 times more than a human being, and which costs a tiny fraction of the cost of a human being. Remember, this is not about how we personally feel, personal ethics. Businesses don't run that way. Businesses say, well, what's the bottom line? How do we compete? How much money can we possibly make? How do we get to that position? So who's going to be remaining at these car companies? Well, there'll be salespeople, there'll be executives, whatever executives do, management, those kind of people. Yeah. During a presentation at its manufacturing plant in Berlin, a white stick-like robot named Apollo greeted reporters by waving its hands before performing some simple tasks to show off some of its skills. In one demonstration, Apollo, seated at a workbench, snapped a simple part together, flashing thumbs up after it had finished. Around 2030, we will see at least some humanoid robots in production working on our production lines, said Mercedes-Benz boss Jörg Burzer. The Mercedes project is an example of how automakers, and they're not just Mercedes, they're all doing it, and other manufacturing industries are beginning to use AI-empowered tools on a broad scale. This is the key here. You get them the best robot in the world. Boston Dynamics, they make some pretty rad-looking robots. Doesn't really matter if it can dance. Doesn't really matter if it can climb a wall. What matters is this. It's the brain. It's the ability for it to learn. And some of these robots in the past, they did some really cool, fancy stuff. They did some great dancing and stuff. Yeah, it wasn't really that relevant, right? It really wasn't because you need to be able to think like a person. But soon these robots will be able to think better than you and I, far better. They really will. It's happening very quickly. The humanoid robot provides an advantage, says Automotive News Europe, in that it can work in a variety of environments, learn to perform human tasks, and can switch locations as needed. And if it gets injured, gets its head cut off, Doesn't matter. If there's a factory fire, doesn't matter. If someone calls it a name, it doesn't get offended. So can you see how managers will sure as hell want to have robots working for them, as long as they keep their jobs anyway? But eventually, to be honest, that manager will be replaced by a humanoid robot that's been programmed to be the manager of the robots. So they're not safe either. Automakers including Honda, Hyundai, and BMW, and NIO, BYD, and basically every Chinese car company have experimented with humanoid robots to perform repetitive tasks that are dangerous, tedious, and require labor. Now, apparently none as yet, in terms of legacy automakers, have deployed them in manufacturing at large scale, but they will soon. Elon Musk said last April he guessed the Tesla robot, called Optimus, could perform tasks in the factory by the end of the year. Now, we don't know if that's happening or not, but obviously Tesla know their rivals are doing this and they will have to as well. They have to. This is more important than cars for Tesla. Way more important than cars. Think about it, right? If your rivals can make a car at a fraction of the price of you because they don't have to employ any people, and then you need to actually make sure first principles apply, get the robots that can build the cars. That matters more. That's your number one priority. Like the large stationary robots that have taken over welding, auto bodies, and other tasks in the past few decades, humanoid robots such as Apollo are expected to take over repetitive tasks as well as hazardous jobs from line workers. Some ways that could be a good thing. Some ways not. During the event, Mercedes showed a short film of a humanoid robot handing parts to a worker on the assembly line and another one lifting a heavy metal casing. Now, Automotive News Europe says this. Bertza said he could imagine that the first humanoid robots that are really humanoids would be employed as service workers in what he called the picking zones. This is where parts are stored near the assembly line to be loaded onto small autonomous material handling machines called automated ground vehicles or AGVs. Today, a human worker has to fill the AGV, but Bertza said it is sometimes hard to find staff for those jobs. To be honest, it's hard to find staff in Germany, period, that will actually turn up to work. I'm amazed that Germans have actually still subscribed to this channel. There's still a few German subscribers out there. Guys, I'm not saying all of you do that, but you got to admit, there's quite a lot of Germans that do this. It's a major problem in Germany, people not turning up to work. The picking zone is quite complex, he said, noting that human workers sometimes grab the wrong part or deliver it to the wrong station. So you could have a humanoid robot do the job of service providers, reducing mispicks and providing a big efficiency gain. So these CEOs and these managers are already identifying ways how they can get better people that are not people. Mercedes is investing a low double-digit million euro amount in Apptronik, the maker of Apollo. The humanoid robotics company was founded in 2016 at the Human-Centered Robotics Lab at the University of Texas at Austin. In December, Apptronik partnered with Google DeepMind to integrate advanced AI with its robotics. Now, I'm not convinced Google DeepMind is anything anywhere near what it promised that it would be, that it was cracked up to be. But let's be real here. I mean, ChatGPT, Grok 3 now, Enterprise ChatGPT, they are mind-blowing. They can do incredible stuff. If that brain goes into a robot, really, imagine transplanting that brain, and that brain's improving every year significantly. Transplanting that genius brain into a robot, it'd be far superior than any human has ever been, in terms of working in a car factory anyway, that's for sure. Mercedes is training Apollo's artificial intelligence to perform tasks that are routine in an automotive factory. Apollo's ability to snap together a simple part was an example of how, once trained, the AI can empower a robot to perform tasks previously done by humans and to do them faster and 24 hours a day. Generally, Apollo is trained by being remotely guided by a human to perform the task, which enables the AI to learn the process and become proficient at it so it can perform the task autonomously. Imagine being the human doing this, though. Wouldn't it be a weird feeling to be teaching a robot knowing it's going to be taking everyone's jobs? Demonstrating the learning process, a Mercedes worker wearing virtual reality goggles guides Apollo in using an electric tool to drive screws into a plastic casing. Under the worker's guidance, Apollo took the tool from another worker and performed the task, handing the tool back when he was finished. Mercedes executive said the benefit of using AI in this way is in its ability to relieve human workers from tedious jobs or tasks that can cause injuries. And it can and to potentially save Mercedes-Benz from going bankrupt because it's, did I say that? I meant it. That's real. This could allow, getting back to the story, allow older employees to work under less stress, which could extend their working lives, a key factor in Germany's aging society and workforce. There is no way Germany will want to hire or keep employing its aging workforce in 2035 when they can employ a robot for a fraction of the price. They won't. It's so expensive to make cars in Germany already, and Mercedes-Benz is looking for ways to lower that cost. So Mercedes are basically lying. So they want to extend the life of their working lives of people in Germany. There's no way they genuinely mean that. No way known. They're not Greenpeace. I mean, come on. A key factor is the use of robotics will allow skilled human workers, say Mercedes, to focus on other aspects of the job, such as toilet breaks. AI takes over the tasks we usually enjoy less, giving us time to focus on real innovation, creativity, and value-adding activities, said Mercedes Chief Information Officer Katrin Lehmann. Humanoid robots will unquestionably improve efficiency. Cars will be much cheaper to make. Productivity will be faster. So car prices will go down. And here's one thing that Mercedes said. One thing is certain. They don't drink coffee.